Hey, it's Kim with Housewife. I'm here with my husband, Robert. This is Robert, and we're here because we've had some requests for another Q&A video with us, and so we got to give the people what they want. And what we're gonna do is just a basic Q&A about marriage, about biblical marriage, godly marriage, the way that it, there's a theory and then there's an application of the theory. So we've applied it and it works for us. And we've been together for 10 years now, happily married for 10 years. And if you are new, then we courted for 20 days. 20 days before we got married, and been happily married ever since then. And we believe that it's because we're doing marriage God's way, because God is the one that designed marriage. He created it, he designed it, it's his baby. And if we do it his way, then if you look at when you get something in the mail and you have to put it together, like say IKEA furniture, you can try to put it together without looking at the directions, but you may or may not be successful. But if you look at the directions, then you exponentially increase your chances of getting it right. So that's how we look at it. So do you want to do anything in the way of introductions, baby?
Just say hi. Hey everybody. My wife asked me to do this again, so I'm here to do it again.
Not really reluctantly, but maybe not, he's not like, "Woo, let's do a video, yay," like I am. But I'm glad you agreed, baby. I appreciate you. You're so sweet. Okay, so I'm going to do the questions and he's going to do the answers. That's how we're going to do it. So, let me see now. Okay, when also what I'm gonna do is take it from the vantage point, because I'm a submissive housewife and I don't work outside the home, and Robert is the head of the family and the head of the household. We're empty nesters, no kids, and so what I'm gonna do is take it from my perspective as a submissive housewife. And I want Robert to elaborate on the part about, we know what a submissive, trad wife and submissive wife, we know what that is. But I want Robert to elaborate on what a godly husband, what his role is, and what defines him as a godly husband. Go ahead.
Well, I guess when it comes to being a godly husband, it's kind of like the buck stops with you on pretty much everything. You have to set the tone for the household, set the tone for the family. I think the most important thing there is being emotionally stable. You have to be the rock. Women and children, all children, but especially women, have emotional needs. Their emotions fly around, they change all the time. A manly man, a masculine man, will be in control of his emotions, so that can be the rock. So no matter what emotions are swirling around, you stay steady right in your place like the rock, and it'll always bring them back around. So that's a very important asset for a man to have. In our culture, this whole feminist crazy culture, they're trying to destroy masculinity and call it toxic. But masculinity is about strength. Masculinity is about providing and protecting. And the key to all that is being the rock, being right there in the middle and controlling your emotions, controlling everything around you. And that's all just basic masculinity.
He's my rock. And can we just take a minute and appreciate the masculine beard here? Because I love it. He grew that for me. It's half mine. I love it. Anyways, he is very much my rock. And what about the working outside the home? I don't work outside the home. I don't bring in any income to the home. Robert does it all. And I used to think, because we've been married, like I said, 10 years. And before that, I had a business. I was And not just that, I always worked outside the home in some way, shape, or form. At one time, I had 3 jobs. I was like a workaholic. And just a very minimal backstory to that, it was PTSD. I hadn't dealt with the issues that I had going on in my life, and I dealt with it by being a workaholic. So that's where I came from. And then when I switched over and Robert didn't want me to work, I felt like I wasn't being useful. I felt like, okay, well, he told me, well, you take care of the house, you cook and clean and, do that kind of stuff, do the laundry, and I'll work and pay the bills. Well, I would cook and clean and cook and clean and do the laundry whether I was married or not. I would do that if it was just me. So I didn't understand how that was helping him. So can you, maybe for some women that feel a little bit maybe that not bringing in an income isn't enough, like doing the housework isn't enough?
That's a lie that comes from feminist culture, that women have to be like men. Women aren't built to be out in the workforce. That's why when women go out there, they struggle. And you women that are working, it's much more of a struggle for a woman to have a regular job than it is for a man. Women aren't built for that. Women are built, designed by God to be the loving, nurturing, guardians of the nest. Like they have that nest that they build their home. And but feminist culture tells lies, like women should act like men. Men aren't attracted to women that act like men. Not real men. They're not. That's not something they're interested in. It's actually perfect if you have the man that goes out and he brings home the income and all that. But the woman's job is just as valuable. Most people are going to have kids, so and the way the public schools are, they've always been terrible, and they're just getting worse. Every generation, they're getting worse. So mothers should focus on their children, on raising their children and homeschooling their children. So for all those homeschooling mothers out there, God bless you, because that is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and your children are going to turn out 1,000 times better as a result. That's just the way that it is. But feminist culture lies. They tell you things like women have to act like men. And I'm going to be honest, if you think about it, low IQ people, which is people that don't really understand how the world really works, no matter what their actual IQ is, like the low IQ man, he's going to be the nice guy. And there's a reason why they say nice guys finish last, because women are not attracted to the nice guy. They see them as pathetic, whether they realize that or not. Deep down in their core, they see those men as pathetic because they're showing feminine traits. Women are not attracted to feminine traits. And the same thing with men. When women go out there and they work and they become a quote unquote independent woman, men are not going to be attracted to that. Those I don't need a man kind of women, that's very off-putting, because any woman that thinks she doesn't need a man has never met an actual man.
A real man.
Yeah, that's just where the feminists like to run things.
So, honey, can you speak to the fact that, like, you told me that, was it you that told me, or did I read it somewhere? Like, a man, if his purpose is, as a husband, to provide and protect, and that's basically like the umbrella, and everything else comes under it, then if I feel like I need to help you provide, then I'm telling you that you're not good enough, or that you can't do it. So that's cutting into your manhood, right?
Well, there's this thing that most women just don't understand, and most men don't truly understand it enough to articulate it, and it's male ego. Male ego is very, it's kind of paper thin, and God designed that for a reason, and I think that's to keep men from getting too high and mighty, because men that are ego tripping, they can actually become toxic masculine, and that's where they're abusive and abuse their power. But a man that has their ego in check, he's not going to be that way. And it's up to the wife to actually, if you study your Bible, especially Proverbs
31.
Proverbs 31 woman, everything that the woman is told to do in that one is really to ensure the male ego. The male ego is what drives the man forward. She boosts his male ego, and then the man is told to love your wife like Christ loved the church. And that's the umbrella that everything comes under, which is provide, protect, be the emotional center. That's what men are designed to be, the leaders of the household. We haven't had a problem with that for thousands of years until the women's liberation movement. Now, I'm all for women like being able to vote and own land and all that, but where they went wrong is the feminists got on board and started pushing their crazy, insane agenda, and that is the biggest issue in our culture today. Almost all of them stem from that. You know, like Candace Owens, who's a political commentator, she got a lot of people really angry at her when she said, should women have the right to vote? But what she was saying there is, women, when they're out in the world, they go by their emotions. They can throw logic out the window, and that's the problem we have today. Crime's running rampant in all of our major cities. And the reason why is because criminals are let out of jail. They don't keep them in jail. And it's because these women district attorneys, these women politicians are thinking that's somebody's son, we should let them out. But men would logically say, no, they're criminals, they've had their chance, they've been arrested multiple times, keep them locked up. I don't care if it hurts their feelings or their parents' feelings. Women go by logic, women go by emotions, men go by logic. And that's why I think men are designed to go outside into the working world, because we can survive that much better. If you think about high-powered women that have intense jobs because they want to make a lot of money and all that, they're almost always single. They have terrible marriages if they're not single. They're bitter, they're cruel. They've thrown their femininity away and replaced it with masculinity. And women aren't designed to work outside the home. It's just better for them to be inside the home, because then they can just let their feminine traits just go. They can be feminine as they want to be.
I can tell you from experience that working outside the home or being a stay-at-home wife, I would much rather be at home. Now, it was a transition. I had to battle my own mind about, not feeling my worth, not understanding my role, but really what it was I had to detox from being out there, because I had been out there for so many decades, and I had been programmed, this is what you need to do. You need to be hustle. I would have 3 jobs and a side hustle, and money coming in was how I measured my worth, even to my family. The more money I made, the more like they would be like, wow, look at Kim, look what she's doing. I kind of fed off of that, but it wasn't healthy for me, because when I first came out from under it, I literally, and I'm using this word correctly, I literally had a nervous breakdown. I did not know what kind of pressure I was under until I was out from under it, and I crumbled, and I didn't know what to do with myself, because it was so much pressure. Anyways, now I am in my little bubble. I'm in my bubble where Robert is like, it's like God and Robert, and then I'm under submission to them, and as long as I'm under submission to Robert, then I'm doing what God wants me to do, because God wants me to be in submission to my husband. So as long as I do what he says, which I know he's not going to tell me to do anything that's not biblical, he's not going to tell me to do anything sinful. As long as I'm doing what he wants me to do, then I'm good with God too. So it's so much easier, and I don't have to make major decisions anymore. I can defer to my husband. If people from the outside are putting pressure on me, I can say, well, I have to defer to my husband, which is true. I'm not lying, but it takes the pressure off of me so that I don't have to do it. And I don't know if that is something that any of you are dealing with, but I dealt with that a lot. And now I don't have it in my life anymore. And now I can cook, clean, do the laundry, a little shopping, and as long as I got all my stuff done, if I want to take a break and watch TV or read my Bible or do a video, watch YouTube, I have the opportunity to do that, and I'm very, very grateful. I'm very grateful to God and to Robert. Thank you, baby. I appreciate him for that, and I respect him as the man of the house, and he appreciates me, and he loves me. So that's how it's supposed to work. The wife is supposed to appreciate the husband, and the husband is supposed to love the wife. Then, well, the wife is supposed to respect the husband. Well, respect and appreciate go together. And then the husband is supposed to love the wife like Christ loved the church. Now, if it came down to it, Robert would risk his life for me. I have no doubt about that. And a lot of people might be thinking, okay, well, I don't know if I want to go here because it's kind of, I don't want people to think I have low self-esteem or anything, but I'm 18 years older than my husband, and, you know, I'm a big girl, and I know I'm not, you know, I'm not all that in a bag of chips, but he looks at me like I am. Who wouldn't want that? What girl in the world wouldn't want that? And he tells me, well, you tell him. Why is that? How did I get you? How did I land a man like you? A masculine man willing to take care of me, and you love me like Christ loved the church. What happened? How did I get so lucky? How did I get so blessed?
I've always been really good at reading people, and I read you really quickly, and you're a godly woman. There's nothing more beautiful than a godly woman. And I'm not talking about one playing a godly woman. I'm talking about deep down, all of who she is a godly woman, you know, and that's what I wanted. That's who I wanted to marry. I never thought I'd find that because I wasn't even sure what it was entirely, and I wasn't really a godly man at all. Technically I was agnostic. I had come through the atheist phase and kind of became agnostic, I guess, around this point, and then I met her, and I knew was what I wanted, you know. She's sweet, she's got a soft heart, she's so caring, she cares about everyone, and that's beautiful. And I guess you can call me the traditional masculine man. It doesn't really matter what my feelings tell me to do. They don't control me, you know, so I don't give into that. But I love knowing how caring and loving she is. And I have no problem saying no to whatever the situation is. And it helps her also because she'll want to help, but if I tell her no, this is not for us to do, she doesn't fight me on that. She's exactly the godly woman that a man should want.
I don't fight you on anything, do I?
No, she doesn't fight me on anything. She's perfect.
So, thank you,
But
baby.
yeah,
Sometimes
it's about
I play
character.
fight.
The thing is, it's about character. And a masculine man, once he gets ready to settle down, he's looking for that character, that type of woman, that godly woman. You know, you can't just find that anywhere. And once you find it, it's like a gift from God. And that's why I tell her all the time, she's my little gift from heaven. Because she really is.
Aww.
You know, it's...
See, he makes me feel special like that all the time. It's amazing. This is an amazing life that I have. And, you know, I really just can't thank God enough because I don't deserve it. It's a blessing from heaven. You're a big blessing, baby.
You are, baby.
I tell you that all the time, so you know. So, okay, let's wrap this up because I don't want the video to get too long. But let's talk about how the Bible says the marriage bed is undefiled.
Yes.
And let's talk about something that I didn't know before you explained it to me about how men need sex.
I think that most women don't understand how much men actually need sex. There was this, I read this article a few years ago, and it was from a secular woman. She wasn't godly at all, but somebody she knew was. And they told her, just submit to your husband sexually. You know, just do that. And she did it. She said she was going to do it for 6 months. And then she wrote an article about it. And she said one of the first things she realized, she didn't understand how much sex men really need. And I think women don't. They don't understand how important that is to men. In fact, sex is the reason men get married. I know it's not romantic, and I know women don't want to believe it or don't want to hear it. And a lot of men are going to, you know, lie and say, no, that has nothing to do with it. But sex is the whole reason we get married. You know, when people get married, when a man and woman gets married, there's two marriages that become one. Men want the girl. That's all they want. The sex and all that. The woman, the wife, she's the one that wants the house, the kids, you know, all that other stuff.
Everything else.
Yeah, and so the man's job is to give her all that and to and to, you know, do his best. You know, even when it comes to like kids, the women want the kids. Men will love their kids, but really the woman is the one that's going to do the actual nurturing and raising. And men are vaguely aware that small people live in their home, pretty much. So, but sex is so important, you know, and God answers all that in the Bible. You know, your body doesn't belong to you; it belongs to your spouse.
Yes.
Don't refrain from sex unless you're in mutual agreement for a short time.
That's right.
There's a reason why women
so that temptation doesn't set in.
That and resentment. Men can become very resentful when they're not getting the sex they want.
Yes.
And that kind of can open the door to cheating. I know people, you know, like say that's an excuse, but it's actually reality. Men at our base level, we're animals when it comes to sex. We're controlled by our biology, you know, and we have to take that under submission, and that's very hard to do if you're not getting what you need. So as me and Kim, you know, we've for our whole marriage, we've had a very simple way of going about it. I just tell her what I want when I want it, and I get what I want whenever I want it. She doesn't fight, she doesn't argue, nothing like that, and we never have any issues when it comes to that. And I got to tell you, as a man that can get sex whenever he wants, no woman in the world has power to try to influence me or flirt with me. I get flirted with a lot. I've even had girls send nude pictures of themselves to my phone, trying to get my attention. And I told my wife, you know, like immediately when it happened, I deleted the pictures. I don't care, because I get the sex at home, so there's no part of me that needs anything out there.
Does anything reek desperation like a woman sending a married man naked pictures of herself? Okay? Sorry.
Sex is when it comes to men, it's actually the most important part. It's more important than communication. It's more important than actually like signs of love or love languages or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Sex is always going to be number one. Yeah. For women need a lot of other stuff, and men should strive to meet those. But me and my wife have a really great marriage when it comes to communication, because we don't assume the other is a mind reader. We tell each other what we want. If she needs attention or she needs something, she tells me.
Right.
You know, and when I need sex, I tell her, you know.
Or if he senses that something's wrong, and he'll say, honey, what's the matter?
Mm-hmm.
I don't say nothing.
Yeah, you don't, yeah.
If something is wrong, I say what's wrong. Because sometimes I don't realize something's wrong, and I'll be in a little bit of a mood. You know, we're wired, females are wired emotionally. And I'll be slipping into a mood and I won't even realize it. And he'll check me on that and say, honey, what's wrong? I'm sensing a mood. And then I'll have to be like, what is the matter? An internal checklist. Yeah. Like, why? I don't know. And sometimes he'll know when I don't know. That's how well he knows me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, she knows me very well. She can make a whole video on the things men need to be happy. She's boiled it down to, 4 or 5 things? And if I'm in a mood, she'll just go down the list of the few things that she knows I need in life and figure out which one's missing, you know. And she can make a whole video on that. And I told her she can make videos on how to be the perfect housewife, and it would work.
Not that you're partial at all, right?
Not that I'm partial.
But
I'm completely unbiased.
We're happy. We're doing it God's way, and it's working, and we're happy. We had to work on it at first. The first year we got married, maybe not even a year, maybe about first 9 months or so.
It was a little while.
We worked on it. We got books and we read books with we would lay down at night and we would take turns. You know, I would like lay on his arm, and then we would take turns each reading a chapter of different books about love languages and communication and how men and women are different, what they need, all that kind of stuff to build our marriage.
And all those books, great information, but if you boil down those books, they were all actually essentially coming from the Bible.
Right.
It's like they took what the Bible said and just expanded it to this book.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, those books are great.
The Bible tells you what to do, and those books were trying to help you explain how to apply the Bible to your life. Yeah. So it works, and we just want the marriage covenant. You know, we want it to work for everyone, and because America is built on families, family values. America is built on families. And the way that it's going right now, the family and the marriages are being torn down, torn apart by outside forces. And it's very sad, and it's also very scary, because I don't want to live in a world, where people can't cohabitate with another person and live peacefully. I mean, what kind of chaos does that sound like? So, we're just trying to give our tips. That's all. So do you have anything else to add, my love?
No. Forget about the feminist culture. Do everything you can to get away from it, because in its essence, it's evil. It's how Satan is pushing his agenda into the world. Whether it comes to abortion, single motherhood, all the divorce we have, all of them have a single root cause, which is the feminist culture that's being forced into our lives. So respect gender roles, and that's
And
really
do
all I
things
got.
God's way.
Do things God's way. The Bible should be the blueprint for your entire life, not just your marriage, your entire life. If you have any questions about life, look it up in the Bible, because it's a blueprint to how to live happily,
Amen.
in life.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We appreciate you guys.